Thank you for joining us at xm.com for this weekly Outlook video. I'm Christina Marujos, and joining me today is Senior Investment Analyst Rafi Boyajian. We'll be having a look at the week ahead, starting with the ECB, which is holding its policy meeting on Thursday. Now, growth in the Eurozone remains sluggish. Markets are anticipating the ECB to keep its policy unchanged, although it's widely expected that it will signal some form of easing at its next policy meeting in September. So what do you think we'll see out of this ECB meeting on Thursday, and what is the outlook for the euro?
So we've had several ECB policymakers in recent weeks strongly hinting that they're ready to take fresh stimulus measures to boost the Eurozone economy. So at the very least, we're expecting the ECB to update its forward guidance, and they'll most likely signal a move for their next meeting in September. But we cannot rule out a surprise move as early as next week's meeting. If that does turn out to be the case, that would of course be quite negative for the euro.
Now, let's move into the U.S. It's going to be a busy week regarding data in the United States, with the GDP growth report for Q2 out on Friday, as it could determine the Fed's next move, whether it will have an aggressive 50 basis points rate cut at its July meeting. So do you think this report will follow the latest stronger than expected retail sales report we saw, and what is the outlook for the dollar?
Well, the strong retail sales data did bolster the chances we might see somewhat stronger GDP figure for next week than currently being predicted. But given how strong the expectations are that the Fed could cut rates by as much as 50 basis points, we would really need to see a very upbeat GDP report in order to lead to some unwinding of those aggressive bets. And if that does turn out to be the case, that would be quite positive for the dollar. For the time being, though, markets are convinced that the Fed will move aggressively, and that, of course, is weighing on the US dollar.
And finally, let's have a look at the UK. The pound has had its ups and downs lately, stemming essentially from political rather than economic reasons. Now, on Tuesday, Boris Johnson is expected to be the next Prime Minister of the UK. Do you think the pound will come under fresh and new pressure?
Well, yeah, it's a foregone conclusion now that Boris Johnson will be elected the next Conservative leader, and that would also make him the next Prime Minister. So the market reaction is likely to be muted to that announcement. What's going to be of more interest is who Boris Johnson will pick for his negotiating team to lead the talks with Brussels, and what his first moves will be with respect to Brexit. If we do see signs that Boris Johnson is taking a hard line, that could possibly start pressuring the pound again. But at the same time, we're seeing Parliament becoming increasingly determined to prevent a no-deal Brexit from happening. We saw this week MPs approving an amendment that would make it difficult for the next Prime Minister to force through a no-deal Brexit. So that would, of course, and if that stance continues, that could provide some support for the pound going forward.
Well, it looks like it's going to be another important week to keep an eye on. Rafi, thank you for joining me, and thank you for watching us at xm.com.